Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It is time for the SmackDown spoilers for Friday, March 14th, 2014. Show was taped in Little Rock, Arkansas, along with the main event show. Yada yada, of course. The show starts with a match between Sheamus and Heath Slater. Sheamus wins with the brogue kick. Duh. Like he's gonna lose to a jobber like Slater. And of course, McIntyre and Mahal were at ringside. They tried to get involved in the match, but had no luck. More like they had no chance against Sheamus. Either way, afterwards, we have to get the boring... whatever. Triple H comes out. And yes, I just said Triple H, no Stephanie. Stephanie's not there. I guess she didn't want to lower herself to appearing on SmackDown. But anyways, Triple H announces that Daniel Bryan isn't here tonight, and he taunts Daniel Bryan's fans and says that Bryan won't be here at all. He also says that he's not happy with the fans for what happened on Raw, and he says he's going to take away their happiness starting now. He also says a bunch of other shit, but in the interest of saving time, blah, 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 no happy ending for Bryan this year at WrestleMania. Whatever. He calls out Damien Sandow and says he isn't happy with him for not getting in the ring against Bryan on Raw. Sandow begs for forgiveness. And I'm going to guess what happens is Triple H sets up this next match, which is Sandow versus Seth Rollins of The Shield. Rollins defeats Sandow with the blackout in a fairly quick match. After the match, Sandow tries to leave, but gets rolled back into the ring by Ambrose and Reigns for the triple power bomb. So they hit the triple power bomb on Sandow. By the way, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I have my own name for the Shield's triple power bomb. Since they talked about being the shield of justice and fighting against injustice, I think their triple power bomb should be called the Fall of Justice. Just my own, I think it sounds nice. So yeah. After that, Big E defeats Fandango in a squash match under 2 minutes. I'm gonna guess he hits him with the big ending. Or maybe he just rolls him up like he did to Swagger on Raw. I don't know. After that, we get a recap of the Heyman and Undertaker segment from Raw, which leads to Bad News Barrett saying he's got some bad news. And I didn't bother writing down what he said because I don't care. I still don't like Wade Barrett, or Bad News Barrett, or Bad News Brown, or whoever the fuck this schmuck is who thinks he can talk about shit. Anyways, after that, the Rhodes brothers defeat the Real Americans. And of course, there's more tension between the Real Americans. After the match, Goldust gets taken out, and the Real Americans beat down Cody until the Usos make the save. Sounds like they're kind of trying to push towards a feud between these two, but the Usos are currently feuding with the Outlaws, and the Real Americans are currently in the process of breaking up. So there's no point in having a feud. Whatever. Anyways, after that, Bray Wyatt defeats Kofi Kingston with the super. There's nothing super about this douchebag. He defeats him with the Sister Abigail. Or as I like to call it, that move he stole from Johnny. Johnny Fandango, for those of you who don't know. I may have mentioned this before. Johnny was using that move in FCW. I believe he used it on NXT. He called it a bid farewell. So, yeah, so anyways, Bray wins that match, who cares? Backstage, I'm going to guess in the office, Kane is with the Shield. And Kane orders them to be at ringside for the main event, which is Kane and Big Show. But the Shield says they don't take orders from Kane, but they'll be there at ringside anyways because it's best for business. After that, Nikki Bella defeats Tamina quickly with her shock treatment, or I'm not sure, maybe it's Brie who's been using the shock treatment. But either way, Nikki uses her finisher to beat Tamina in a quick match. Brie was at ringside and AJ was on commentary. Nothing really else of note, obviously. Next up, we get Dolph Ziggler defeating Alberto Del Rio. And afterwards, Renee Young gets in the ring to interview Ziggler. And Ziggler cuts a promo bragging about beating Del Rio for the second time in a row. And he also announces that he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and that he's going to win it, and he's been waiting for this WrestleMania moment for so long, and yeah. It was also in the notes that Ziggler was getting huge pops. So, yeah. After that, we get the announcement for the next inductee to the Hall of Fame. Carlos Colon. Of course, the father, I believe, of Primo, as well as Carlito. Now, this is somewhat interesting because a lot of people were kind of mad about this because there's a very, or I should say not very well known story that Carlos Colon aided in the murder of Bruiser Brody real long time ago. This was down in Puerto Rico? Yeah, I believe it was down in Puerto Rico. Carlos was there. He saw it happen, but he testified helping the murderer get away with it. And so a lot of people are kind of mad about this because, you know, not only that, but who in the fuck is Carlos Colon? What the hell did he ever do in the WWE? I have a few old pay-per-views that we had on VHS, and he was in one of them. So, like, who is this guy, and why does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Did he do something memorable, aside from helping to give birth to Primo and Carlito, in which Carlito hasn't even been in the company in years. Primo is currently wearing a pink mask with pink tights as one of Los Matadores. Anyways, moving on. The Wyatt family cuts a promo about John Cena, the match with John Cena at WrestleMania. I'm guessing it's mostly Bray, obviously, talking. Who cares? Moving on. Kane finds the Shield backstage and brings them to the ring with him. The main event is obviously coming up next. But before we get another stupid on-the-stage promo with Lana and Alexander Rusev. Who cares? Moving on. In the main event, the Big Show defeats Kane with a chokeslam. I'd have thought he'd have hit the KO punch, but whatever. After the match, Kane yells at the Shield for just watching him lose and not helping him. And Kane even grabs Seth Rollins for a chokeslam, but Reigns stops him with a spear. So Reigns runs through Kane with a spear. And the show ends with the Shield standing together over Kane. And that's the end of the show. So, a face turn for the Shield, like an official face turn? I don't know. But yeah, that's the end of SmackDown. And that'll be the end of the Wrestling Rant for this time. I don't know, this episode of SmackDown looks to be okay. One or two of the matches were said to be fairly good. The one between Ziggler and Del Rio was said to be a lengthy match that went back and forth. So, that one might be worth watching. Anyways, that'll wrap it up for the SmackDown Spoilers edition of the Wrestling Rant for Friday, March 14th, 2014, Little Rock, Arkansas. So join us next time, which will probably be Monday, for Raw. Please join us then. Thank you for watching, as always. We'll see you on Monday.